So we're playing Vaesen this evening. It's a game published by Free League, and it's an investigative Nordic horror RPG where the players combat or debate with the creatures of Scandinavian folklore, and deal with them peacefully or not so peacefully. It uses the Year Zero engine, which some people will be familiar with from the rest of Free League's games, like Mutant Year Zero, Alien, or Tales from the Loop. And last week, shenanigans and stuff occurred. So we'll have a brief recap. I would ask my players to do it, but I'm not that mean. So
okay, Val just took note.
Where that goes.
yeah, everybody took notes except the GM because he's an idiot.
Because you know exactly what's been going on.
It's on YouTube. You can just check back.
Oh yeah, good point. I've just got to go and watch YouTube. I'll be back in a couple of hours. So the PCs are a lovely group here, but contacted by a young priest named Oscar Udgren, who believes that his good friend and mentor, Carl Erik Hedqvist, had met a grisly end at the hands of the Amundsen. This is going to be great. I mean, I've barely started, and I can't pronounce names already. The Amundsen family, who run a herring saltery in the Fjällbacka archipelago. After several days of travel, the group met with Oscar at Fjällbacka on the western coast of Sweden, and they made the journey across the sea to Räcka Isle. That doesn't sound like a bad place at all. The site of the Amundsen's enterprise. The group attempted to gain accommodations at the only inn on the island, which is also run by the aforementioned Amundsens. But it turned out that it was priced out of their means of the means for all except for Roland and Vlad, which is Lloyd and Jake's characters. It turned out Oscar knew one of the employees at the inn, Justina Johansson, and he knew her perhaps a little more than he was letting on. But the PCs questioned Justina, and she revealed that she was there when Carl Erik had been at the inn a month before trying to convert all of the patrons to the one true path, and that he'd gotten into an argument with Zacharias Amundsen, who's also known as the Herring Baron amongst these people, and his mother, whom the locals call Godmother Abella. And that he'd been thrown out, and she hadn't seen him at the inn since. Shortly thereafter, one of the characters noticed that one of the Amundsen family was carrying a revolver of particularly fine workmanship, which they suspect formerly belonged to Carl Erik, and that was the gun that he was allegedly killed by. After a brief encounter with Godmother Abella, the society decided to head somewhere quiet to talk, but were intercepted by one of the Amundsen brothers, who told them that Zacharias had requested their presence at his mansion for supper that very evening. And that is where we finished last week, and where we will take up right now. So you're still in the inn. You have just been approached by one of the brothers, one of the four brothers. So far, you've seen only two of them. These rather large, quite formidable-looking fellas, and he's the one that's kind of giving you this proposition, this invitation to visit the mansion, to meet up with his brother Zacharias. Zacharias being the man behind the entire business here on the island. So you were heading up to, I think Vlad and Roland both were able to secure rooms. The rest of you couldn't afford them. And I think you had headed up to one of the rooms here in the inn. I believe that was the plan, was it not?
Yeah.
We had a couple of hours, didn't we?
You did, yeah.
So we got a bit of time to go mooch it about it.
we wanted to strategize.
You did. Yes. Make plans. So you head up to the room. I guess, would it be Vlad's room or would it be Roland's? Where are we heading?
Vlad always invites his many fans to speak with him.
I believe everyone had decided to go in Vlad's room and just leave me to my own device.
Oh, okay. So Roland, you're not going with everybody else. Is that the...
No, I'll join them there while we're having a chat. But I'll just when it comes to sleepy time.
Okay.
Sleepy
the rest
time.
of you are going to have to sleep on the boat that you arrived on, I guess.
No, we should room share.
Can't they just sleep on the floor?
Oh, well, I mean, maybe.
They're
maybe
basically staff.
We'll see. We'll see what people have to say about that.
I mean, is it not like a day long or a...
Did Oscar come upstairs to the room with us?
Now you mention it, no. He seems to have disappeared.
Did any of us notice him disappearing?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, you kind of saw him. As you were heading up into the room, you saw him kind of head towards the back of the room, which is where the bar was. There's like a little corridor that runs down the side that leads out to the back of the inn, and he'd kind of disappeared down this dark passageway. Strangely enough, that's where the young lady that you'd just spoken to, Justina, she had already headed that way.
Do either of our rooms overlook that part of the inn where we might eavesdrop or just take a look?
You want to if you're at the back of the inn? Yeah, why not? Yeah, let's... Yeah.
Just hang out the window.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you
Just
head
hang
up...
out nonchalant.
Yeah, as you head upstairs. I mean, it is a very warm. It's very warm at the moment here in Fjällbacka, so it wouldn't be unusual for you to have a window open, and perhaps you can hear voices. You can hear, you hear Oscar's voice. You can hear him. He's not shouting at Justina, but you can hear him. He's almost pleading with her, and you can hear her basically kind of saying, Oscar, you should go. I'm fine. There's nothing to worry about. I'm fine here. They pay me well. You should go. You're only going to land yourself in trouble. So there you kind of hear this kind of conversation between the two of them. It's quite faint. It's down the floor below you. So and it kind of leaves. It's ended by her leaving. She's saying basically, I have to get back to work, and she kind of steps inside, and you hear his footsteps follow hers back inside. But you're up in Vlad's room.
So,
It sounds like this Oscar has some sort of chip on his shoulder. I am not sure that he is right in the head.
for a man of the cloth, he seemed a little bit emotional.
Too personally invested in the lives of others.
I think he's only invested in one.
Who may well be the reason that he became a man of the cloth, if she didn't feel the same.
Yes.
Well, they were schoolmates. I wonder if they had a closer friendship when they were in school.
But maybe she knows more. So, but she's not able to say anything. Situation maybe.
Yeah. She's probably afraid. Well, there's a risk attached to it.
So, we're supposed to be investigating, and this is why we're here. So, we need to investigate.
Well, perhaps
Have you written a book on investigation?
Oddly enough, not at the moment, but I'm sure it will be a subject that I shall write about in the future.
That's a shame.
I don't know if Ingrid or Val or perhaps even you, Elsa, could try to approach this waitress and maybe coax her to come up here to talk with us more. Perhaps she was just uncomfortable speaking downstairs in the common room.
Yeah, too many eyes downstairs, I think. And ears.
I think having her employers that close may have been the biggest hindrance to her.
Correct. I think if anybody knows or can give us any indication of what we can come to expect at our dinner tonight, it would be her. Oscar is not going to know much on this topic, I feel.
I know. This invitation.
Yes, Val, perhaps you have to take your dog for a walk and can encounter her and then ask her to come back up to the room. Leave that large boulder blast or whatever it is that you carry. Perhaps it's just a little intimidating. You're going to catch more fish with a fishing rod than a gun.
Not if you're a good shot.
Not if you're shooting fish in a barrel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Vlad sets them up.
So, did the letter say or anything say how long he'd been dead?
Yeah, it was a month.
Month.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the last time anybody saw him alive was a month ago.
but that was over on the mainland.
His body was found on Whale Island, which.
But he was was he last seen alive here on this island, or was he last seen alive land kind of?
He was last seen alive on this island. Yeah.
Oh right, by who?
Well, Justina said that she saw him having an argument with Godmother Abella and Zacharias. Yeah. So the body was kind of found on Whale Island, which is kind of this part of the map.
That's quite a way.
It was, and Wrecker Island is down here. Yeah, so there's quite a distance, but you know, it was some time between the last person seeing him, or the last being seen on this island, and then washing up on Whale Island, and there was quite a lot of there's been a few nibblers on his body, shall we say?
Well, so far, the only person here that I think had any sort of motive for getting rid of Karel is obviously Oscar, because he is there to take his job. I mean, you know, two priests, one congregation, it doesn't add up math-wise for prosperity purposes.
Strange leap. Interesting leap of.
We'll call that hypothesis B.
So
We're sick of the current leads we have of the fact that what was her name, and the Herring Baron they were talking to him at the last time she saw him, so like they've clearly seen him closer to the point where he died. They might.
But on Wrecker Isle? The distance would be too far.
I mean, there's a gap in between when she saw him when he died. So
I mean,
at least
it's an archipelago.
There's
probably some interesting currents floating around these islands, but yeah, it's quite a distance that the body was found from Wrecker Island, where he was, so far as you're aware, last seen alive.
Maybe he just shot himself really hard.
I mean, that's always a possibility. He had the gun didn't look that big. assuming it was his gun. But maybe he found a cannon somewhere. Who knows?
If Vlad were to kill somebody, and that's not to say that he ever has or ever will, because why would he indeed? Perhaps he would also bring the body to a place far away from where the killing was done. So perhaps this was all done on purpose, and Whale Isle was far enough away from Wrecker Isle to divert the suspicion that he was actually killed on Wrecker Isle.
I've got a book here, actually. It's written by Vlad called How to Murder Your Wife.
How to murder your wife and alienate people.
So maybe we can find out when the young lady downstairs is having a break.
Yeah. We could
So
try
if we go downstairs and see if we can order some drink for her, brews, ask her to bring them up to the room.
Yes, but you know what? Cholera needs to go for a walk. The dog, just needs to go and do his business. I shall take Cholera and go for a walk and see if I could find her and ask her to come up to read some of my work. I did write a very inspirational children's story about a train with a can-do attitude that at the same time also educated children on the subject of the birds and the bees. Should I repeat that? I had wrote a children's story about a train with a can-do attitude that also educated children about the birds and the bees. The title of the book was Titty Titty Bang Bang. Now, if you're not old enough, you might not. It just might not be appropriate, but it is appropriate. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely appropriate, and on brand.
If you offer to her to come upstairs, try not to mention that book.
I have plenty of books, other books that I could mention.
I mean, I wasn't around in the late 1890s or whatever. I don't know if a young man inviting a young lady up to his room is
proper.
a bit. It's proper. I mean, it's Wrecker Island. Who knows? It's Wrecker Isle.
Well, we were asking her to bring us some drinks.
That's a good point.
Yes, perhaps. Yes, it is a good point. So Vlad will go down and kind of, mosey on around, see if he could find her and ask her to bring drinks up to the room.
Yeah, so you head downstairs, Vlad, back down into the bar, where things seem to be getting a bit lively as you head down there, and you can see that Justina is kind of standing. She's almost in the middle of the dining area, this part of the bar. You can see Oscar is kind of standing there, and he seems to be shouting at a couple of sailors that are kind of standing much larger than him. They're kind of standing looking over him, quite intimidating, and you can see Oscar appears to be he's shouting, "Keep your hands off her! She's not your property! Keep your hands off her!"
Oh, Oscar, forgive him. He was dropped too often as a child, and he's a very mean drunk. You know the way they are with priests. Oscar, come here. Perhaps could you have a bottle of your finest whiskey?
Yeah, that'll do. Aquavit would be a nice Swedish drink.
Finest aquavit brought up to the room. I will calm him down. He is out of sorts. That is quite. Oscar, come here right away.
The big fellas that you'd seen earlier. He kind of moves it. You see him kind of moving in towards where this group is having this altercation. Justina looks like she wants to just drop through the floor. She's really quite almost humiliated by what's going on. Oscar is completely red in the face. He feels obviously very affronted by what's just occurred. And you can assume that basically a couple of sailors have got a bit frisky, and that he's taken great offence to this, and he seems to be berating these sailors about what they're doing, and they're just kind of standing over him, kind of. They've clearly had quite a bit to drink, and things look like they're on a bit of a knife edge here, and that he might, at any moment, any one of them is about to start something.
Oscar, you know what? A drink for my friends over there too, please. Oscar, do not trouble these very nice people. They work very hard for a living, and they need to unwind on their downtime. And I do not think they enjoy being screamed at by the likes of you right now.
This has nothing to do with you. These men, they were manhandling us. What? You're not going to allow that, are you?
No, of course not. It won't happen again. I can assure you, these men, to me, they look properly chastised. And perhaps even properly chased. So you have no problem there.
They definitely do not look chastised. They're almost, one of them is kind of standing at the back. He's got a big grin on his face. He looks like he wants something to kick off right now. And you at the corner of your eye, one of the large brothers seems to be moving round the tables towards the back of Oscar at this moment in time.
I think I'm going to try a manipulation. To diffuse the situation, offered by them drinks and stuff, and get Oscar out of there, and reiterate, bring the drinks to our room. He's clearly not in the right frame of mind for continuing to drink here.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let's have a roll then. Yeah. Why not?
All right.
I think there's something at stake here.
Your life.
Oh, nice.
Oh, hi.
Okay. So Oscar, he kind of looks round at you and he says, "Are you not affronted by this behavior?"
We shall discuss it upstairs. Obviously, this is not a problem you're going to be able to solve here and now. It must be determined that with tact and forethought that we resolve the issue here that is very troublesome to you. I have some writings that you might want to help me with.
And he kind of looks at Justina, who scuttles away at this opportunity. You've created this little break, and she kind of scuttles away around the back of the inn, and the two sailors kind of, as the drinks are brought that you have provided for them, they just laugh at Oscar, and
Oscar,
offer you
I
cheers.
shall pen a sign that we can offer up to place on this establishment with clear rules on how to treat the staff in a respectful and proper manner. Perhaps you should tell me the rules.
A sign? Do you think a sign would be enough here? Sir, I do not think so. But he follows you as you kind of lead him towards the stairs.
Yes.
And yeah, you kind of see everything kind of relaxes slightly. And at that moment, you probably notice Godmother Abella in the corner. Her shotgun kind of is lowered.
And don't forget to bring the aquavit rather quickly with 1, 2.
He's a writer, not a mathematician. It's okay.
5 glasses. 1, 2,
Yeah.
5 glasses.
The barman kind of nods. And you make your way up the stairs with Oscar in tow. He's looking, his head down.
My fellow mates, I have terrible news to tell you. Cholera did not get the chance to go make a pee-pee.
Is she going to be okay?
I think so. She sacrificed her comfort for the life of this Oscar. He was quite upset. I think
You would have been upset too. You're a gentleman.
Of course I'm a gentleman, but I do not require medication to the extent that you do, my friend. What were you hoping to accomplish there? Did you want to follow into the footsteps of your friend Carl?
No, of course not. But You know, have you no honor, man?
How would that have ended? How would that have ended for Jessica?
I'm sure God would have protected me, I'm sure.
Like he protected your friend.
And he gives you a withering look as you say that, Valdis.
And I believe what happens down there is the will of God. It is a manifestation of his will.
What?
Yes, it's to be used as an example for those kind like us that are more intelligent, to show us how not to behave, so that we could spread around. For this evil is isolated on this island.
He slumps to the floor, leaning against the wall, clearly beaten in this particular argument.
There, Cholera, go make nice. And I have Cholera go and lick his face.
You're muted.
Flipping heck. I
Flipping
go
heck.
over to him, crouch down, say, "You're not helping this situation. You're just antagonizing, and you could end up in the same situation as your friend. This has to be dealt with diplomacy, maybe, and discreet inquiries to find out what happened. If you're screaming and shouting in the bar, they're just going to shoot you."
Don't you see the wickedness, Miss England? Don't you see it? Doesn't it repulse you?
Yes, it's a place with very low moral fibre, and it's not a place that I would frequent. But everybody is an individual, and they can choose to their lives as they choose. Fortunately,
If you could talk them round, would you not do that? Is that not the right thing to do?
not if it means you're going to get killed. That achieves nothing. So you have to think of another way. But right now, we're not here for you, and we're not here for the word of your God. We're here to try and solve what happened to Carl. And you screaming and shouting in the bar is just going to get you and us killed. Now you just need to calm down.
Yeah. I mean, he goes to speak as you say that, and then kind of stops and just looks down at the floor.
What is your relationship, Justina? May I ask?
I have known her since I was a youth.
Yes, I've known many people since I was a child, yet I don't try to rule their lives. I don't try to pass judgment on their choices.
You seem very protective.
She is a young woman, and this is no place for her. This is, as he's saying this, you can see he's kind of going, his face is kind of flushing a little bit.
Are they the same age? Like, am I to
Yeah,
understand?
they're very similar. Yeah, they're very similar age. Yeah.
We need to be asking her questions, and you're making it awkward.
If we're to find out what happened to your friend, to Carl, we need to be at least a little bit more discreet. And you're raising attention to yourself and to Justina.
If you're making life difficult for Justina, you're not going to be winning her over.
Winning her over, and he turns bright red as he looks at you. I don't know what you're talking about.
You want her to leave this place. You don't like the sin and the vileness.
Yes.
She doesn't seem to be taking the current approach too kindly, and so she's going to be stubborn and stay put. Stop telling her she's wrong.
Painted her. They've bewitched her in some way. I'm sure of it.
Well, maybe think that, but don't say it to her, or she's going to tell you to fuck off.
She's trying to earn an honest living. You're
And
just-
honest.
She's getting paid to do
Look
this job.
around. Do you think this place is honest?
The place might not be honest, but I assume she is.
And if it is a love story that you are looking to complete in your life, perhaps you should read the
What? What?
stories I wrote. It takes place in Roman times, and it is called Bicus Dicus Grows Fondly for Gluteus Maximus. It's a Roman love story. I'm sure if you were to read that, you might approach this in a little bit of a different manner.
Romance? What? He goes. If it was possible for him to go any redder, he does. I don't know what you're talking about.
Which is why I highly recommend the book.
Sorry, what was the book title again?
It was a Roman love story. It was two Roman characters. One was named Bicus Dicus, and the other one was named Gluteus Maximus. And therefore, the story name is The Bicus Dicus Grows Fondly for Gluteus Maximus.
Oh, so this is you. Are you in love with Justina?
What?
Certainly, I am not. I am just.
No.
Oh, you're taking him, of course.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm a man of the cloth. Of course not. What?
You're still human.
What did you do before you were a man of the cloth? Before the calling of this god brought you into his fold?
I have followed the Bible since I was a young man. Carl Eric himself, he mentored me, and that is why I owe him this. I have to convert these people. I have to.
And where is your current parish located?
I am at Fjellbacker, of course.
And who is tending your flock now while you are here on Rekarael?
He kind of looks down at the floor again.
Surely you should not be neglecting your the important people that need your guidance. You have called upon the finest investigators and literary minds to come and try to solve this mystery for you. Perhaps it is time that you return to your flock and let us do our work.
While you're waiting for them, we'll have a jab at it. We'll try.
While we're waiting for the finest investigators of literary.
Will do.
Until that point.
Okay. He looks he looks quite dejected after all of this. And he says, "Perhaps you're right. I shall return to our boat."
Would it be wise for someone to go with him to the boat?
Maybe Vlad can go so his dog can go pee-pee.
Good point.
Yes, I shall escort him safely to the boat.
Or we could walk him to the boat on the way to the evening's meal, and we could leave it set out a little bit earlier to make sure he gets to the boat and make some inquiries en route.
However,
There's a knock at the door.
no, the inn is kind of next to the residence, and then the harbour is beyond. But
Well, we'd take a little
Right,
detour.
you've got a bit of time. You've got a bit of
Yeah,
time.
we've got time.
Yeah.
How long
Okay.
have we actually got?
I mean, it's less than an hour or whatever it's taken. So you got plenty of time to walk down there and peruse the harbour.
I find
Did
the,
we order some drinks? So we'll wait for our drinks.
Yeah, the aquavit arrives, by the way, that you were ordered down in the bar, of course.
Excellent. So we will invite her in for a quick chit chat.
Is it bought by Justina?
That's a good question.
Is there
That's
a
a good
luck roll
question.
we can make?
And there is no luck roll. But there is.
Does he automatically succeed and it goes our way then, right?
That's how I'm reading it. Yeah. If there's no luck roll, you have all the luck. Okay. Yeah. So there's a gentle tap at the door as Justina brings the drinks.
It's just lovely to see you.
And she brings in a tray and sets it down. Would that be all?
No.
Oh, it's that kind of evening.
Justina, young lady, come in. We mean you no harm. And would it be possible to take 1 minute or two of your time?
I'm very busy.
Stand.
Oscar
I
kind of
understand.
stands as she enters the room. He kind of looks at her. You can see that he goes a little bit red again. And kind of looks away towards the window. You can just kind of make out the thin waning crescent moon through it, shining down on the sea.
I take the drinks from her, place them on a table of some sort of is one in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I say, I understand that you working here, can put you in a situation. We're here to find out what happened to his friend Carl. We, won't get you involved in any way, but any information given, find out, and then we will leave and take Oscar with us.
Told you everything I know.
Why do you think that we were invited for dinner tonight? We are not people of consequence. I mean, I am, but not everybody else here is.
I don't know. I assume what Pace said was true, that Zacharias was interested in meeting more educated people.
Which was the brother who was carrying the gun, who had the guns with the pearl handles?
That's a good point.
The godmother's son wasn't.
There was the two of them. Now, from the letter, you know that there are 4 actual brothers.
Right. Okay.
Zacharias is one, and he's the herring baron. He's the big man. Then there's Paul, Peter, and Pace. And she has just said it was Pace that spoke to you.
Was he the one with the guns, or was it the other one?
Oh, that's a really good question, and I shall tell you forthwith.
Flips coin.
His name
Yes.
No. He was carrying quite a large knife, wicked-looking knife. But a lot of the fishermen here are carrying those kind of knives.
But there is something you can tell me. The gun that it was Pace that was carrying that gun?
No, the gun.
Yes.
Godmother Arbella has the shotgun, sir.
No, but have you ever seen Karl, the vicar, carrying a gun, perhaps for self-protection? You have seen him here and you have seen him arguing. Surely you would have noticed if he had in his possession at that time a revolver. Sorry.
But the gun with ivory handles, I think I've seen Pete with such a gun.
But never Karl?
I don't recall.
To be fair,
Oscar, did Karl have a gun?
Sorry?
Oscar, did Karl have a gun?
He did. It was a pearl-handled revolver. Sorry, Red, you were about to say something.
well, I was going to say revolvers aren't particularly big, and the priest dresses are quite voluminous. So lumps and bulges of guns, maybe not.
Yeah,
quite.
it's. I suppose it's one of those things with. She seems quite naive, perhaps, despite the fact that she works here. Does this Justina? So maybe she wouldn't have been looking for such a thing, particularly on a priest. She wouldn't have. So maybe she wouldn't have spotted it if it. He certainly wasn't brandishing it like wildly about the inn, as far as she knows. She doesn't recall anything. Like, she remembers an argument between them, which involved the priest being thrown. The priest being thrown out, and then she says, "Oh, but I do recall later that evening there was an argument. There was an argument down near the Saltery. But there's arguments there all the time. I thought nothing of it, but."
Who was that
Now that you
between?
recall that, have you heard the voices of who it may be? And certainly if it was at evening and nighttime, it would have been not usual. It would have been off hours, no?
Well, it's usually quiet at night by the warehouse, and perhaps it was Carl Eric's voice I could hear, but I don't recall. And as I say, I thought nothing of it at the time. Look, I really must be going.
Before you go, Justina, one last question. When the last time you saw Carl, did Pete go away for a few days afterwards?
No, but Paul has... I haven't seen Paul. They say he's been ill.
For the whole month? Is there no doctor?
There's been no doctor from the mainland, no.
That's interesting.
They haven't told me what's wrong. I mean, I haven't asked.
Ingrid, a thought came to mind. What if at tonight's dinner we refer to you as Dr. Ingrid?
It could work. Have you written any books on being a doctor or medicine that I could read to refresh some memories?
Yes, quite. Yes, I wrote a book once. It was a joke book. It was a book about a doctor, a priest, and a writer who went into a residence for dinner. I called that book Foreshadowing.
I mean, yeah, is that what the plan is then?
I think it is a solid plan B.
So we have a theory B and a plan B.
Yeah,
Yep.
theory B and plan B.
That's a side plot if we don't like the main plot of this adventure.
Has Justina left us now, or is she still with us?
She kind of, she's implied that she needs to go. You asked her the question, and she kind of nods at you courteously.
If you
And
hear
would that be all?
anything, no, if you hear anything about us discussed down there, please try to get word to us before our dinner.
Discuss you, sir. I'm sure there are plenty of people discussing you.
Exactly, yes. But a smart, intelligent girl like you will know what message to get to us that would be very important.
Oh.
I am discussed all the time. I'm sure my ratings are being discussed downstairs as we speak.
I don't know about that, sir, but yes, I'll if I hear of anything.
Yeah, perhaps I wrote many very interesting books that are very practical, that are used everywhere. I wrote a book about a profitable baker man, and I titled that book Baking Bagels and Other Dough-Making Activities. It's widely read by bakers everywhere.
You certainly are a very knowledgeable man. Would that be all?
That's funny. I was never accused of that before, but I shall ponder it.
You may, yes, but you are safe here.
Well, quite safe. Quite safe, miss. Yes, I've had no fears since I've been here.
And that's fine. Okay. Best get back. We don't want to cause you any ward tension.
Thank you, miss. And that, I mean, sorry, were you about to say something
I
about
was
this?
just say, like, would we have randomly like a business card or anything to be able to hand out?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know, because we've just come to the. It's just we're new to the place.
I kind of have a feeling that the Roland would definitely have a business card anyway.
Sure.
In which would make sense to me. Whether you have one as the society, I don't know, because it's kind of. It's kind of a secret, yeah. So.
Okay. Okay.
So I have a theory C.
We've no theory A's here, which.
Oh, well, theory A. Roland had theory A, which was it's just suicide. We're on a wild goose chase.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Theory B was he shot himself in the face while trying to catch fish.
Yeah.
Theory C. That wasn't Carl Eric's body. It's Paul. That's why we couldn't see why the face was gone. And no one's
Where is Carl then?
buried somewhere on the island. I'm not saying he's still alive, just that's maybe not him.
So if we go down the ruse of you being a doctor, then maybe you could, I say, we'll bring up the subject, try and get it deep, Paul. Maybe we'll meet him.
Maybe.
Who knows? Okay. So
Yes, I definitely think if it is true that Paul is ill, introducing you as a doctor, the next logical conclusion was, oh, a doctor. Maybe you can come see our son.
If not, then there's questions.
Would there be, if they don't offer up that, would you come and see our son?
try and sneak around the house and get some.
Sneaking's always easy.
Yeah.
Oh shit, wrong character.
It's not. It's not the wrong character. It's the right character.
Yeah, it's not my D&D character who.
No.
Yeah. Can't fail on stealth. No. So.
I mean, you can still fail your rolls and still think you're stealthy.
Oh god, yeah.
Denial is a hell of a drug.
But would we want to say, if they don't offer up, hey, come and look at our son, are we going to try and force it? And so say, hey, we heard that your fourth son has been ill. Would we have heard that? Would that have made it to the mainland?
It might be a bit sus to know that without us actually asking. It might, unless we can try and get the conversation there about the family and Who
Well,
does
that's it.
what, maybe?
If we know they have 4 sons and only 3 joined us for dinner. Oh, did you have a 4th son? Oh yes, he's not feeling very well. Well, good we have a doctor.
Doctor in the house. Roland,
Yes.
as a private investigator, what would you do in this situation?
I would investigate privately.
Yeah. I mean, we have an invitation for dinner with some people that already saw him after the most recent witness.
So the
So
most
we have time to
recent.
ask some questions, and also we can see what topics they try to avoid, and therefore what areas we can investigate further.
So what Roland is saying is that we should go to the dinner without him and proclaim that he is not well. And all the while we are entertaining our host in the main dining hall, he shall be sleuthing and skulking about in the house looking for clues.
That's a splendid idea.
Yeah, you can tell
in
from
my
Roland's
way.
face that he doesn't think it's a split.
I mean, I got 4 dice. What's the worst that can happen?
I think that's a splendid idea. So, shall we?
I would love it if I cracked this case on my own and you guys are just having like parfaits in the dining room.
It's going to be all fish at dinner, let's face it.
So we
Yeah.
we could escort Oscar to the docks, to the boat, to get him out of trouble. We could call into the Sultry on the way and ask questions about the last argument. Then go to dinner. But
Is
wait,
there some way
if we
could
dress for
tie
dinner,
Oscar?
will we get Mookie going around the docks?
Some way you could what, Oscar? Sorry?
Sorry, is there some way we can tie Oscar to the boat so he cannot escape? I do not
Right.
trust him.
Is it
The traditional way?
maybe?
I mean, I guess it's a boat. There might be ropes on the boat, I guess.
Oscar,
Yeah.
will you stay on the boat if we escort you to the boat? Can we have your word on it? Otherwise, he's going to tie you up.
What?
I mean, it's a better plan than what I had.
Are you mad?
No, by tie you up, I mean keep you very busy with many multiple tasks on the boat. There are decks to scrub, there are sails to mend, there is oars to take the little rough edges off, because otherwise the sailors might get splinters.
So okay. I mean, you want him to basically stay put while you go to dinner. That's what you're saying, right?
That would be ideal and will never happen. We know. Yes.
Okay, right. So who's trying to persuade him here? Which one of you is doing the talking?
Me, I was talking to him.
You're talking, right? Are you being assisted here by somebody?
I might have to be because my manipulation is 0.
Fantastic. You have a good evening.
I mean, my manipulation was going to be, look out that window over there. See the beautiful sunset. And then just bash him with my revolver. Then we can wake him up in the morning.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll call that
Oddly
plan
enough,
C.
suspiciously, this is exactly what happened to Carl Eric.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mystery solved. He pissed off the other society members.
Okay. So, right. So Elsa's doing the manipulation here. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, because I was
Now,
talking
I
to
got
him.
the feeling that Vlad is helping.
Do you have to have points in it to assist? I assume we have to know what we're doing.
I you know what? I don't think so. I think all he's going to do is give a bonus die anyway when rolling.
Yeah.
So let's just assume that it's then. This is great. If Elsa's gonna attempt the roll.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, you brought this on yourself.
But it's because I was talking to him. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stay mute.
Well, I'm wondering if it's not a logic. Well, it's manipulation, but does she have a logic-based skill that could be used instead of manipulation?
No, I think it would. It's based on empathy, isn't it? What's
your talent?
So, yeah. What talent does she have? That's a good point. Talent is. Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna help.
I'll go with it. 'Cause okay, I'll go with it. So I just roll.
But you're gonna get a bonus dice. So when you click on manipulation,
Yep.
you should see a box
bonus
appear. So
dice,
bonus
yeah.
dice 1. Yep.
1. Yes.
Yep. Yeah. Roll it. Okay, and he looks at you. You've all been basically going at him this evening about how he's got to not be so forthright in his actions, and he seems to have taken that on board. And Elsa, as you we need you to stay on the boat. He kind of nods dejectedly. I shall await you on the boat.
And if you do not, and we hear that you had left the boat and caused trouble, we shall immediately leave this place and cease all our investigative activities on your behalf.
No, please don't do that. I'll do as you say. I'll head to the boat now, he says. Gets to his feet and...
Very nice. Here, I take out from my satchel a random book.
And he takes it without even looking at the title and skulks off.
Well, I guess it's not necessary for me to introduce the title of the book he took then.
That's entirely up to Vlad. Yeah. Whether Vlad would announce to the rest of the room, this book is... Which I kind of suspect he would.
The opportunity.
No, I think he kind of would. Yeah. What's the book that Vlad has lent?
Well, it's especially good for those in the clergy who like to teach modesty and other such thing. It's a book about frugal shopping. I titled that book Dumpster Diving.
Yeah. It's... Yeah, as I say, he doesn't look at the title. He just takes it and, with his head down, he kind of shuffles off.
Yes, it's a very nice book. Even the logo on the book is a D and a D for dumpster diving. D with little ampersand D. It's very, very interesting.
Oh, I see what you did there. Right. So, okay, folks. So Oscar's headed off down to the boat. You spend the rest of the evening getting ready, or the next hour or so getting ready for your little visit. So is the plan then for Roland to be ill, to be unwell?
So,
Gee, like he had much choice. Sorry about that.
Yeah. He's a private investigator.
Yeah.
He lies.
no, we uncover the truth.
No, you're a liar.
But
You're
you
a private
lie.
eye. You're a
I'm
liar.
Get to it.
I mean, I don't think the suggestion here was ever to split the party or anything like that.
We're not just splitting this party. We're sending
I
somebody
love
off
it.
on their
I
own.
love it when people split the party. It's great.
We're sending him off on his own, alone.
My favourite thing.
Sarcasm.
No, I love it. Okay, so the four of you, you prepare yourselves for dinner before making your way down to to the mansion, right? Is that the plan?
No.
Okay, we're not doing that.
No, the
Don't change
plan.
the plan. A plan, right? No plan.
The plan is to escort Oscar to the boat via the Sultry.
Okay. Right.
To ask some questions at the Sultry, then
So
go
you're
to the
gonna
boat,
need to
then
catch
tie
up
up
with him.
Oscar, and then
What?
thought we were tying him up.
He said he'd stay.
You've just persuaded him to stay on the boat.
All right.
This was your plan.
I'm still on the tying up bit.
What did you write in your notes 2 minutes ago?
I got distracted
Yeah.
by books and things. Actually, I put plan to take and then I stopped, so I'm now writing it up.
Anyway, so You escort Oscar then. That's what you're doing. You head down to the seafront.
Not tying him up.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
It's the saltery at the seafront.
Yeah, it's the
Oh,
big
that's
yellow,
helpful.
a big yellow warehouse. That's,
We're on that kind of landmass where technically everything is on the seafront.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Are we all? Do we all know where we are now?
Yeah.
Okay, we're with the
Whether we're
program.
tying anyone up or not.
Yeah, we'll maybe we'll get to that in a bit. Right.
We'll find you someone to tie up later.
So, you escort Oscar back to the boat. You can see the big yellow warehouse. The smell from the sultry is all pervading. The thin crescent moon sits kind of directly above you. Well, kind of fairly low in the sky. Its light kind of tracing a lit path all the way from the ocean up towards where you are. The sea is very calm at the moment. Its waves lapping gently up against the dock side. And the captain is waiting on your boat. Captain Bergstrom. He smiles at you as you all approach. He's a fairly tall fella with a big, thick beard, craggy face. You know, you've spoken to him very briefly as you were coming over here, and he was a very quiet man, but it seemed quite dependable.
Tim,
Yes, miss.
possible to leave Oscar in your care?
The priest? In my care? Well, he smiles.
Or at least is he can he stay on the boat out of
course.
harm's way?
He might have been causing a slight ruckus. Yeah.
I see. He kind of glances across at Oscar, who's still kind of looking very dejected.
We think he was looking for 10 good men to pray with, or at least 9, but it did not work out for him in this establishment.
Maybe you could pray with him.
He chuckles softly. Aye, maybe I could. What say you? What say you, Father? And Oscar and the captain descend onto the lower deck.
Oh, that's one problem dealt with. Right, now we just need to go to the house, not get killed, find the murderer of Carl, get off the island alive.
And
Will
still
we-
have dessert.
Hey.
Were we hoping to investigate the saltery at all, or
Yes, let's go there now.
Do we have
Head-
time?
We'll be
Yeah,
quick.
you've got about an hour, I think, maybe. And it's not like the mansion is too far away from where you are. Yeah, so there's this big, yellow, foul-smelling building. It's huge. I mean, you've probably not seen a warehouse this size before, actually. And it kind of stretches along the length of the dock, the quay. You know, you say it's just not a short walk from where your boat is moored. There's nobody around it. It seems to be dark in there at the moment. They're not working 24/7.
Is it kippers that do?
Herring.
Oh, okay.
So they fish for herring. They salt it here, and they also use it to make oil. Use herring to make oil here, and that is one of the things that smells so bad.
I delve into my bag and dab smell it again.
But theory D that the crime was a setup by the local kipping baron, the kipper baron, to frame the local herring baron.
Yeah.
Is there a lantern that we can light, like at the entrance that they would leave there, that we can then enter? And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? Yeah, like a little oil lamp.
Yeah.
It's probably, I don't know if herring oil would be used.
Hurricane lamp on
All
me.
right. Then again, Elsa has a hurricane lamp,
Obviously.
so I guess we're using Elsa's lantern.
I undo it from my belt. Light it.
Okay. And the flame springs up, casting this this glow around you. There is there's a doorway. It's like an entrance hallway, if you like, that kind of leads into the warehouse proper. You try the door. It is locked. But that's not a problem for you guys, is it?
Nah.
Is there a lockpick?
I mean, wasn't the plan to go and speak with somebody, or do you actually want to snoop around here?
Well, there's nobody to speak to here now, anyways, because it's closed and dark.
No, that's right. I mean, the reason you're here is because Justina said that she'd heard an argument here.
A month ago, and we're hoping to find clues from that.
Oh, did you say it was late as well, or?
It was then in the evening. Yeah, the evening that Carl Eric had been thrown out of the inn. Which, as far as you're aware, is the last time anybody saw him alive.
Okay. So, I mean,
I'll go, Val, here. And I take out some of my writing implements, pencils of different sizes and different, picks and little knife to sharpen and stuff. Maybe this will help you. I've seen similar things open up locks in the past.
sure, I can try.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Okay, yeah,
Try
I'll...
not to break my
So I'm
HP
told.
number 2. I need that one.
Right, are we just going in the front door, or are we just at the front door?
Well, this is kind of like an entrance on the side of the building. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There is like a larger front entrance that you saw as you kind of approached, but that's where they kind of moor up the ships or the boats as they offload the herring. But you're kind of coming in from the side, which is kind of where the workers would normally come in.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
fine then. Yeah, I'll give it a go. I'll try and unlock the door.
Alrighty then. So, what will this be? So I think this would be
Agility?
well, I'm thinking, yeah, it could be agility, or it could be a logic-based thing, maybe.
I mean, it could be stealth.
I tell you, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Stealth.
Yeah, why
Can
not?
be sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, right. So you're kind of fiddling around with the lock,
Oh, shit.
and yeah, you kind of the lock kind of snaps. You hear a crack from within it as you're kind of messing with the tools. It looks like the doors, perhaps the salt in the air has kind of rotted it somewhat, and the crack seems to be where the lock is. You've kind of pushed too hard on it, and the lock has kind of split from the door slightly, and the door kind of swings open. But it's pretty obvious to anybody that would look that the door has been forced.
Well, the
It's
door's
open.
open. You just...
Well, must go.
Yeah, so I'll lead the way in.
Okay. Yeah, so you move into the building proper, Should we take a little break here then? Welcome back, everybody. Yes, you have just opened inadvertently the door into the warehouse. It's dark in there at the moment, but the light from Elsa's lamp casts eerie shadows across the wooden sides of this huge structure. And the first thing that you're aware of is this incredibly terrible stench that's drifting out from this building. And it's so bad you almost throw up as this scent wafts over you. So I'd like you all to make a force test if you would. Waft.
Wait.
Waft is a good word, isn't it?
Wait. I put the smelly stuff under my nose.
You get a bonus dice.
So what we're rolling?
Force.
Where's force?
Because
Oh yeah, found it.
I don't know why I bother rolling anything, like, ever.
Oh.
Oh, look at Vlad. Vlad's...
I've smelled worse.
Vlad's probably eaten worse.
My smelling goo under my nose worked.
Okay.
It reminds me of a coming-to-age story that I wrote about a young girl who enjoyed cooking. I titled that book, Who Will Toss My Salad?
I'm so glad that went that way.
I mean, is it better? Anyway, everyone appreciates blood.
Oh, we're not seeing the dice, Mr. Producer voice, Coy said.
I'll tell you what happened.
Literally everyone.
I'll tell you what happened. Some people made it, and some people did not.
Yeah.
Now what happened here? We have Roland failed, Valdis succeeded with 1 success. Roland failed with no successes. Vlad got 2 successes. Ingrid sadly got no successes, and Elsa scored 3 successes.
Because I put the smelling
kind of food for breakfast.
Yeah. So now what you might want to do here, folks, because you've got extra successes, you can gift them if you like to your companions.
I will gift them by giving them my smelling balm put under their nose.
That would be a perfect way to do that. And so perhaps as the door kind of opens and you step in, both Ingrid and Roland dry heave almost immediately, and Elsie, you see this and come to their aid.
Step back.
Yeah.
I have this salve in my bag. Put it under your nostrils. It will help.
Yeah, you find out the salve smells so bad it actually makes the cannery smell better.
It's lavender.
You've gone smell blind.
It's lavender, and I go and dab little bits under their noses.
It's albus oil. Okay, and that helps a lot. You can it's still there, but it's not assailing you in quite the same manner. I guess other than that, the rest of you, I mean, it does smell terrible, but you're able to hold down your lunch at least. And you step into this huge structure, which is nearly all an open space. At the far end, you can just make out like large kind of shapes that perhaps look like vats of some kind. There are crates and barrels that are kind of stacked up in various locations, almost to the ceiling in some cases. And there's an area which is kind of open barrels where obviously the things are basically put into the barrels before they're sealed. But it's quite dark, and your light it's so big that the lantern doesn't actually illuminate the whole area.
I think we should investigate to see if there are any barrels here that don't match the others. Maybe that would contain something different, or be used for transporting something other than what it looks like here.
Okay. So you're gonna have a search amongst the barrels then, Vlad. Is that the plan?
The containers and the barrels. I want to see if anything sticks out to me, looks out of place, has a brand on it that is different than the others, or
Okay.
other such.
Anybody else doing anything? Are you all milling
There's
around?
nobody about.
No, there's nobody in here at all.
Is there anything that looks like it might be kind of an office or somewhere a supervisor might be?
No, there isn't. It's basically just one large structure. At one end of this thing, there are these vats where they're obviously they boil down the herring to make the oil. And in other areas, you've kind of got these areas where they salt the herring and then it's stuck into barrels where it's sealed and then shipped off. But there's no office here. The office work, it's probably done back at the mansion, you assume. If there's no office here, that would make sense. But if you're doing you're searching around in the barrels, can you make a vigilance test for me, if that would be? And if the rest of you are searching as well, feel free to make a vigilance test too.
Yeah,
I'm not going near the dirty, stinky barrels, but I'm basically looking around the warehouse and listening and just checking. I'm checking for more like something like a Vaesen or something, because that's, you know, I'm looking for something unusual. Is it vigilance or investigation you want to roll?
Vigilance for now.
Yeah, it's just keeping an eye out, like, because we've got limited light. I think we'd probably all kind of be moving a little bit together, but just keeping an eye out on everything.
And as you start to mention and point things out to Vlad, he goes, "No, there's nothing to see here, obviously."
I do have my tinderbox, which means that in dim light I can use investigation when investigating. That's from me.
I mean, okay. It probably won't matter too much now, seeing as everybody pretty much succeeded except for Vlad. But no, you go ahead. You go ahead and do that. That's cool.
This is where I get no successes.
It doesn't even matter. Okay.
Just like that.
Yeah, so perhaps you and Vlad, you go over and you're kind of searching some of these barrels. I guess Vlad has somehow convinced you that we should look for a barrel that's labelled differently to all the others, etc. And so you're kind of going through all of that with Vlad.
I promise you something is very fishy over here. Over here, right over here.
Not wrong.
Not where you were looking.
And Roland.
Yes.
As Vlad and Ingrid kind of are searching around the barrels, you kind of step around them. You go into the areas where the empty barrels are, where the stuff's kind of loaded into the barrels. And you kind of shift a few of these barrels about as you're kind of investigating. Now you've got 2 successes here, so you do this in a very cool way. So what is it that Roland does that's very cool and investigatory?
Well, I guess that's what he finds.
Yeah. Well, what he finds is, and you almost miss it because it's caked now in dust and oil. But there's you catch a glimpse as the light kind of flickers across the area where you are.
Yeah.
Something glints briefly, and you kind of lift up what looks like a silver chain with a crucifix on it, covered in grime. So it would have been very difficult for a spot. No, he obviously he's not here, but yeah, and there is this kind of silver crucifix attached to this fine chain that's just completely covered in grime and oil and dust.
That is of no consequence. It is very well known that most people here are very religious, very devout. We've already established that. To a great
it's
degree.
probably worth a pretty penny if it's proper silver. But I would expect that it means that someone who was quite religious was here. Could I get a read on like how long it's been there?
You got 2 successes, so I'm going to go yes. Let's say it's been anywhere between three to 4 weeks, maybe.
Maybe we should take it to ask Oscar to.
I don't think that's going to help with Oscar's situation.
No, we're not right away, obviously.
Well, we know. Okay, so like the expectation is that he was killed here at some point. I don't think he would remove the crucifix voluntarily.
But we know he had the argument near here, so it might have been that. Literally, might have
Just
been
before.
the actual altercation.
To add a minor complication.
So I know it does fit the timeline of what we're looking at.
And
It
as
was discarded around the point that argument happened. Well,
Roland has kind of pointed this out, this thing that he's found. Valdis,
Is
where he's lifted this chain up, as you kind of wander over, Elsa is carrying the lantern, of course, as she kind of comes over. You spot there's like a dark stain on the floor near where this chain was found. As Roland's kind of holding up and examining it and getting a read on exactly how long it has been here, you see this dark stain on the floor.
would it have caught the attention of Copper, being a hunting dog?
Ooh, well, that's a good point.
depends on how good a hunting dog is.
He's a
Yeah.
good little boy.
He's a good little boy, but he's dumb as a fence post. And no, we probably wouldn't.
It was worth
Yeah.
an ask. He's
Yeah.
good at chasing animals.
He's too busy at the moment jumping around in the sea or whatever on the beach, barking at waves and stuff. Yeah, so Elsa, you kind of see this. You and Valdis, you both kind of catch a glimpse of this thing at the same time as you move your lantern over the area. As Roland kind of holds up this crucifix.
I'll kneel down and just like gesture to Elsa, just like, just bring the lamp closer.
I step forward and lean into it.
Okay, so either of you can make an investigation or medicine test. You choose.
Get me with the rolls tonight.
I can assist on investigation if we need it.
It's okay. We got it. It's definitely a blood stain.
How big is it? Like,
Now, yeah, it doesn't look like there's not a huge amount of blood here. It's quite a small stain. You both succeeded, so let's say you kind of both come to the same conclusion that this is kind of the kind of stain that maybe would have occurred if somebody had a nosebleed or something like that. It's not like gunshot wound kind of amount of blood.
Right. So we could say this is not a fatal bleed here.
It might be a sign of a fight or a struggle.
yeah. I think it might be like somebody got a busted nose. That's how the chain has ended up in here. Chains got ripped off.
The chain didn't look like it was hidden then. It's like it like
No,
sort of-
it had fallen. It was kind of fallen behind a barrel. There, you saw Roland was kind of moving some of these barrels around, and he kind of saw these empty barrels, and he saw this chain kind of drop
The chain
down.
broken, or is it still like in one piece?
Yeah, yeah. You can see the clasp has perhaps snapped
Okay.
off. Yeah.
Is there like any trail from the blood?
No,
Any rags around that might have the blood on?
no. There's nothing like that. It's just like a dark stain on the floor in this one area.
If we are supposing that the body that was found was not the priest, but was Paul with a face that was disfigured, would it not be possible that the priest's body is still here, perhaps in one of these vats, being rendered down to fat or being disposed of in another manner?
Now, I suppose the thing that you would, the Valdis and Elsa would probably know is that there's not enough blood here. Elsa's absolutely right. This is not a fatal wound. The amount of blood here, it doesn't correspond to a fatal wound. It's not that somebody died from loss of blood or being shot through the face or anything like that. This is not that kind of. There's not enough blood here for that. This is more
The facial disfiguring.
Yeah, if you basically got into a punch up with somebody and you got hit on the nose and your nose bled a bit, or cut lip, maybe.
Perhaps our priest was a hemophiliac.
He's a bleeder, all right.
Muted.
If he was a haemophiliac, there'd be more blood. But the blood doesn't go anywhere.
Even smaller wound, but
So
if they think he's
they
in here
said there was a
somewhere still,
fight
just say-
here. Have we got time to keep searching? Have we got to house?
Yeah, you're kind of running out of time now. You've probably got about 10 or 15 minutes maybe to get to the house.
Okay, well let's head
perhaps
to
no.
the house. See what we can
I'd like
find.
to take a picture of this with my camera.
Oh.
Where the thing was, just in case, because it is evidence of sorts. So
Now, the
I-
problem you've got here is that in this time period, cameras are very, very big,
Oh, I see.
and there will be a big fuck-off flash when you try to take a photo. You can certainly do it, and maybe nobody will notice. There's very few windows. It's up to you.
I shall consult with my... If I take a picture, it's quite possible it will be noticed. I suspect that our movements are being tracked anyways on this island, and this might be a form of insurance, perhaps? Not if I keep the camera on my body, of course, but if I bring it back to the captain prior to going to dinner, perhaps, and send him off.
I also hope the canning process, when all this drying and grinding down, doesn't produce any kind of flammable gases for that camera flash. I'll wait outside and just see the whole building just detonate.
Yes, I agree. Roland should take the photo.
I'm gonna
please.
pocket the crucifix.
You're taking this. Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I'm pocketing the crucifix.
Yep, you certainly do that.
Well, there's nothing to take a picture of anymore, so it's fine.
Oh, sorry, did I ruin it for
Bloodstain.
you?
No.
Bloodstain.
Do we need to pose for you? Just be like,
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah. This is what you could have won.
we're gonna have a lovely dinner party where everyone smells like fish.
Yeah, but the fact is, on this island, everybody does smell like fish.
I don't like fish.
You're in for a bad night. Yep. As you'll discover in just a moment. So, do you take the photograph?
this is the question. Is it something that you would approve of me doing?
Me?
Not you. Why would I?
I
why
approve
would I do
wholeheartedly.
this voice?
I mean, if you're gonna do something big and flashy, I'll probably make myself scarce.
Yeah.
All right, then
We kind of didn't break into the building.
Hold on a minute. Big and flashy is just Vlad, right? That's just.
No, the actual camera flash.
Oh, okay.
I shall keep cautious and not use the camera, but I shall think of another good use for it in the future.
Yeah,
promise.
that's good. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to write an adventure just for you where we can just take a picture. Excellent. Okay, so you leave the warehouse, make your way slowly up to the mansion. And it is a particularly beautiful mansion, actually. You're quite surprised at how well made and how well furnished this place is. It looks fantastic. But as you pass the inn, or no, you don't pass the inn. As you kind of, you see a figure walking down the path to the harbour, coming down from the inn as you approach the residence. And it's kind of this tall, thin figure. And he's wearing like a fisherman's cap. His clothing is very coarse. It looks kind of, it's almost shining. It's that greasy. And he cocks his head as you approach. And he just says, "Come here!" And you can tell that he's clearly, utterly inebriated, this fella. Come here!
Are you talking to Cholera, my dog? Would you like to pet my dog?
Come here!
Yes. Let's go help this good man. Where is it that you live? We shall get you to your home safely.
As you approach Vlad, he kind of shakes his finger at you. You should leave. You should leave if you value your life.
You
as quickly as possible. Sea gives, and the sea takes away. Soon it will take you too. If you're not careful. The new moon is almost here. And he points at the thin, waning crescent. And his breath reeks of booze as he kind of breathes all this over you, Vlad. And then he takes a step away from you. Hear my warning, he says, and then collapses in a heap on the floor.
Oh. I think he was the local priest. He has premonitions about the future. We should heed this wise man's word.
I mean, he just vaguely knows how the moon works and how the ocean works. I don't think he's any kind of supernatural ability there whatsoever.
Well, there is something to be said about people who are inebriated who always tell the truth.
There's also something to be said for people who are inebriated telling the biggest, fattest lies you have ever heard.
It's a fact.
Well,
I read it on Wikipedia.
There is a moon. He is correct. The sea giveth and the sea taketh away. He is correct that we should be careful. It is an ominous sign.
And as you talk, he kind of you hear him kind of clambering clumsily to his feet, and then setting off down the path, talking to himself.
Thank you. Good evening. Good luck.
Hear my words.
Yes, thank you.
Was that the GM creating an NPC in his own image?
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody's gonna die
No one
this evening.
listens to me.
Yeah, I know. Blood knows not of what he talks.
Not too long, you find yourselves at the mansion. It's brightly lit. There are kind of lanterns out on the veranda, lighting the way. All the windows inside appear to be lit too. The figure has disappeared off into the darkness. And you are standing at this rather elaborate oak door, which is finely varnished with very fine brass fittings upon it.
As I knocked the door, I was like, I really
Would
hope
it
they don't
be-
serve fish.
I won't be going in with them, I suppose. So
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Roland, what's your plan? You kind of would have
I might
slipped
not.
away
if there's
before.
other ways into the building itself.
All
If
right.
there's no other ways in, then I'll just join them at the front door.
I mean, they could go in the front door. You could still go in the front door, but a little bit later. I mean, there are windows on the ground floor.
Yeah.
There's a back door that stands to reason.
Could it be reasonable that we would have brought a nice bottle of wine that we had brought from our provisions to offer our hosts?
You know what? You've got resources of 4. I'm going to go, yeah. Yeah, because, you know, I'm nice like that.
Especially after that compliment.
Especially after that compliment. Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good point. No, you've fucking got nothing.
I have a box of chocolates.
Yeah. You even forgot your own trousers. So you're standing in front of this ornate door. You're brandishing a bottle of fine wine. Roland has disappeared into the shadows. The door swings open. You see there's a young, well, I say she's not young, he's not that young. There's a woman standing there, quite short. She's dressed in like a housemaid's uniform, if you like. And it looks pretty respectable as well, considering everybody else on the island looks like shit. She looks fairly well presented. Looks like she's actually clean, which is nice.
Good evening.
Good evening, miss. You must be the guest.
Yes, we had an invitation to dinner.
Indeed you did. Indeed you did. Please, come in. She gestures you inside. The house inside, there are fine paintings on the walls. It looks... It was probably not what you were expecting when you'd seen Godmother Abella and the brothers in their coarse outfits. This looks like a fairly swish mansion would be an accurate description of this place. It's well furnished, well decorated. There is that faint smell of the sultry, but that's unavoidable in this area. She leads you through and leads you into the drawing room, where there is a table that's kind of set out with places set for all of you. Oh, she looks... One of you is missing.
Oh, here, I brought this lovely bottle of wine for us to share tonight in thanks for the invitation. It is from all of us. You might want to go uncork it now. It needs to breathe for approximately 18 minutes. Well, that's not approximately, it's precisely. Precisely 18 minutes. It should be fine to serve. Enjoy to our hosts with our compliments.
Thank you, sir. I'll do as you say. And she takes the bottle of wine. A few seconds later, the door kind of swings open again, and in steps this. He's a very big man, very well dressed, very handsome, with a fine handlebar mustache that looks neatly oiled. There's this strong smell of cologne that comes in, which kind of masks the smell of the sultry. It's that strong as he kind of comes in. It kind of clings to the back of your throat a little bit as he kind of enters. Behind him, the two brothers and Godmother Abella, who you've already seen, they kind of step in. They're silent as they come in. The two brothers kind of leer at you a little bit, unnervingly, as they enter, but they say nothing. Please, take a seat, says the handsome man. I am Zacharias Amundsen. You've already met my mother, Abella, and my brothers, Pete and Pace. Please be seated.
Now, when we sit, is there exactly one place extra?
Yes.
So I'm gonna say, I noticed there is a place. Somebody is missing. Is Paul not joining us today?
Paul? No, Paul. He is away, carrying out business for us.
Oh, really? Oh, very interesting. Where might this be? What kind of business?
He's in Gothenburg. Why do you ask?
Oh, merely I saw the empty place seating, and I assumed that
the
we
place was set for one other, indeed. Another guest, incidentally. You seem to be missing one of your number. I hope all is well.
Oh, he's a little bit under the weather, so he's returned back to the inn.
You see, he is sick. He is seasick.
Very good. Very good. And you, sir, he looks at you, Vlad. You are Vlad Adzamot Vadam, are you not? I do hope I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, it's Vlad, the V is silent. But Adzamot Vadam was very good.
My apologies.
Named after my father, Mr. Adzamot, and my mother, Madame Vadam.
I was most impressed by your treatise on shotguns and the advantages of the woodward grip over the Prince of Wales. I believe it was called Big Knobs and Boomsticks.
Yes, that was the follow-up to my treatise on gun safety called Don't Get Cocky.
Excellent. Perhaps I shall look that one up. I shall like to add it to my library.
I would be very happy to sign any editions of my book that you are currently in your possession.
He nods in appreciation.
It was very kind of you to invite us here.
Yes, I was intrigued, shall we say, that people such as yourselves would have visited this island. Pray, what are you looking for? What is it that you seek here on Wrecker Island?
I am writing a new book, and it could have possibly two titles. Perhaps you might have some influence on that. One of the titles is some salty sailor stories, or something fishy stinks on Wrecker Island. It could be one or the other, I am not sure. It depends on our research here and how things progress.
I must apologize for the smell on the island. You get used to it after a while, I'm afraid.
Oh, I didn't notice this an odd smell. What are you referring to?
You flatter me, sir.
I have a salve. It works very well. Do you like to try some?
I believe it would have no effect on me, madam. I can barely smell the sultry as it is. As I say, you become inured to it after a while. No, it is unusual for us to have 3 such fine-looking women on the island. My pleasure.
No,
you get a whole ding in his eye. It does that. He's a very handsome fellow.
Would we be swayed in that way?
I don't know. You tell me.
No. I'm 49.
49. I'm 49, me.
I'm not swayed by a bit of
I'm
twinkling.
49. I'm not old.
I'm not.
You are, I assume, assisting our writer here.
Yes, and I came. I'm a friend of his, and he said he was coming, and I'd never been here, and we'd heard some stories about the place, so we came to.
Stories?
Oh yes, about how well you prosper here.
We have been fortunate with the herring harvests. Harvest? Is that what they call it? I don't know. Anyway, that's the word I'm using.
Yes, you are very successful at the collection of the fish. This is very interesting to us. But we more write stories about the culture of the peoples, their beliefs and their values. Certainly, the people here must feel very fortunate about the boons and praise the gods for the bountiful sea that is provided to them. What would be the primary religion that people here follow?
I mean, he kind of smiles. He almost chokes on the glass of water that he's drinking. Religion, you say?
Yes. Do you pray to Poseidon here primarily? Are you Catholics, Protestants, Presbyterians?
I mean, you've been to the inn. I'm sure you've probably come to the conclusion by now that religion is not foremost in the minds of the men here.
Well, we have been to the inn. We have not been to your church yet. How is it that these people find spiritual guidance? Who is it they give thanks to for their bountiful luck?
They give thanks to me, of course. I am the archipelago.
So you are the emissary of God on this island?
God has nothing to do with it. I have merely provided them with the wealth and the prosperity that they required, that they wished for.
Praise be to capitalism.
Indeed. But you are here to write a story, you say?
Yes, I write very many things. I'm very prolific. What are some of the other titles that you have read of mine?
Sadly, I do not have a huge amount of time to read. I found myself fortunate to have read just that one. That one book, sir. If only I had the time to read more. But as you can see, I am incredibly busy with my work here. But you are here to write a story about Wrecker Isle.
Yes,
you flatter me, sir.
I have not written a book about fish yet. I wrote about a great many things. I wrote a confectionery book that was not meant for men to read. I titled that one, How to Bake with Yeast Infections.
Oh, I think I read that one.
I think we've all read that one. Interesting. So you are interested in the fishing industry here?
Yes, and in our research, we also found out that there is this thorn in your side. Apparently, this priest named Oscar, who's we have heard outlandish stories from him.
And we're going to jump to Roland here.
Ooh.
Roland, you have been waiting outside. As you've seen your companions enter. How long do you wait before you make your move?
Probably I think immediately after they've got in, I'll probably start looking for like ways in.
Okay. There is like a veranda.
Yeah, give it a few minutes and then I'll wait for like 5 or 10 minutes till they get shuffled in.
Yeah.
before actually going into the building.
So is your intention to maybe make enter on the what we would call the first floor? I don't know what Vlad would call it.
The first floor.
The first floor. Or
yeah,
are you going on the ground floor?
Probably. I think probably upstairs. Probably more likely to have offices and. Knowing how this is going to go, it'll be in the basement. So who knows?
Basement.
Start up and work our way down.
Okay, so you want to look for a way in. So there is the veranda, which you could probably. Yeah, you're a fairly athletic guy, Roland. Do you reckon you could climb up?
I could if I didn't have to roll for it.
Well, there is a. there is a. I would say. I'm not going to make you. I'm not going to make you roll for a. I'm not going to make you make a roll for.
Yeah, I had to very carefully climb up, like I don't know.
Climb. But you might want to make one for stealth or something. Whichever you would feel is most appropriate.
I'm not really feeling good on either count, but
you're not good at either. So, is there anything there?
I mean, I can try stealth. We'll see what happens.
I would let you use. Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
The dice rollers don't like me.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But the dice roller doesn't like anyone, to be fair. So don't feel bad.
Mine have been great tonight. I just thought I'd put that in there.
Apart from Ange, it really loves Ange. It really does love Ange. It thinks Ange is the best. So,
it would be right.
Let us see if anybody hears you. I'm going to make a secret roll.
Well, hopefully you roll worse than I did.
A secret roll that only those on Twitch can see.
If only
watching now.
If only that was true.
I love it. I could see it as well.
They won't see shit. Okay. Okay.
Did he roll 3 question mark?
That's more question marks than you roll, boy. Okay. So you ascend onto the roof of the veranda. As you kind of climb up, your foot slips. One of the tiles on the veranda kind of slips away, and it kind of slides down and smashes on the floor below you.
I think it's a strong wind.
But you find yourself kind of in front of a window that you can try to force open if you wish.
I'll try to see how much force am I going to need to open this window.
Not a huge amount.
I don't want to do too much because you don't want to just slam it open.
Yeah, no, I mean you're trying to be quiet and sneaky, right? So let's.
Do you want force for this one?
I don't want you to roll. Okay. How about that? I'm just going to let you open this window.
Alright, in that case, I'll move to the next window.
Does that make you suspicious?
Indubitably.
So you're going to move to the next window? Or do you want to open this one? I'd just like to point out, I'm not going to make you roll to open any of these fucking windows.
Yeah, but what I might do is, after the noise, I might lay low, just in between, is lay low for a few minutes. See if I hear any sound of anyone hearing it, and then also keep an eye through the window to see if I see anyone on the other side.
Also, if we can ask, while we're in the dining room, did we notice a loud noise that somebody...
Well, that's a good point, isn't it? That is a good point. Do you want to make... Actually, can you all, except for Roland, make observation rolls for me?
There's so many dice.
Oh, nice.
This is probably more of a case of, does it look like anyone else? No.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah.
So because Vlad doesn't notice anything, he continues talking as if nothing happened, and is keeping the attention of the people around the table because he doesn't notice anything.
So that's yeah. Let's go with that. As you're chatting away, there is that both. Both. You got Valdis, Ingrid, and Elsa. You all hear the sound of the breaking tile outside. But before that, Ingrid, something was bothering you. When you were talking, or when Vlad was talking to the Zacharias, and he mentioned Paul, and Zacharias had said that Paul was out of town, that he was in Gothenburg conducting business for the family. There was kind of like a twitch at the corner of his mouth that kind of didn't register with you at first. But as the conversation has continued, this little conversation between Vlad and Zacharias, the more you suddenly think that he's lying. You don't know why, but he's not telling the truth. And the two brothers and Abella have stayed silent the whole time. They've not said a word at all to anybody. But they're giving you these kind of furtive glances across the table.
Yeah. What's their body language been like? Have they been kind of defensive or just...
yeah, Zacharias, he's giving the impression that he's being very open, but he is not. But he's trying to look like he is. The other three are guarded. Like, you can feel the kind of tension from them. But they're not saying anything.
Okay.
But Zacharias is definitely being. He's playing at being the great host. That's your impression. He's not entirely sincere. That's probably the best way of putting it. That's probably what you're thinking. But when Paul was mentioned, he definitely kind of tensed up slightly, and then when he said he was in Gothenburg, you just got the impression that's a lie.
Okay.
Actually, Alan's back at.
He's in Fjällbacka. No, he's behind you.
I was half expecting everyone's food to get drugged while I'm outside.
Yeah. And as the first course arrives, strangely enough, it seems to be a pate. Bless you. You're welcome. A fish pate, strangely. You may be surprised to hear. Roland, up on the roof. Everything seems quiet.
Quietly try and open the window.
Yeah, and you push the window. It's one of those sash things. He just lifts up. There's no lock on it or anything.
Yeah.
And you kind of step into a room. It looks like a bedroom. It's quite large. It's well appointed, well furnished. I think the thing that kind of strikes you as you enter it, there's like a big 4-poster bed this is clearly the room of the master of the house, if you like. And as you kind of climb in, there is a different aroma in this room. You're not sure maybe if it's because you've kind of come in from outside, where the all-pervading aroma of the sultry is kind of assailing everyone. It's kind of more of a seaweedy, sweet seaweedy maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of musty, almost.
Someone has been in the ocean.
Yeah.
By a bit.
Yeah. There's a large bottle on the nightstand. Kind of an ornate looking thing. Not much else.
Anything in it?
You kind of step over to it and you take you take the lid off. Do you take a sniff?
I was trying to just have a look at it. But it might be worth seeing if that's like the source of the sort of seaweedy smell.
It looks no. Oddly enough, it's like a cologne bottle, if you like.
Okay.
And you
maybe it's for like masking the other smell.
Yeah.
Does the seaweed smell is from everywhere around the room? It's not like a particular part, but like.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of coming from in this room. It's so powerful, it kind of overrides the rest of the smell of the island.
Yeah. What if I could have a look and see if he keeps a journal or anything?
Yeah, sure, you can take a look around for something like that.
Oh, come on.
There isn't a journal as such here. There is a desk in the far side of the room, which appears to. There's a couple of drawers in it, like pedestals either side of it.
Yeah.
Kind of a thick, solid wooden desk. Maybe even made of driftwood or something. It kind of looks. It's not quite regular shapes, this whole thing, but it's quite an impressive looking piece. And there's there's like an accounts book that's kind of sat on top of that.
Yeah. Let's have a look. See what the recent coming and goings have been like for the last few weeks.
Yeah, okay. Could you make a learning test for me there?
I mean, I can click the button.
Yeah, but I mean, when I say make a test, I kind of mean just carry out the test.
Nope. Wait, when? What?
Hey, look at that! You succeeded. We can end this stream now.
Yeah, quit while
because Lloyd has succeeded in a role.
Finally.
And I think he will be. I mean, we should make a note of this at least in our diaries, because.
Down in history.
Yeah. Bless him.
Remind yourself.
Has he broken his? Have you broken your streak? This is the thing.
I mean, we haven't played on Roll20 for a while, so.
Oh, we haven't. No. Fuck Roll20. Anyway. You scan through these financial records, and as you're kind of scanning through them, your private eye brain kind of recognizes the fact that there's only a fraction of the inn's liquor sales have been accounted for here. What that means, you don't know.
But there's some of it's off the book, but just not going to wherever they go from here to sell.
Yeah. But that's the only thing you can glean from that, really.
Yeah.
So it's just that and this ornate bottle, this cologne bottle on the nightstand.
If I take it, he'll know someone's been there. But then if I do take it, then he can't cover up the seaweed smell.
Oh, yeah.
What I might do for a laugh is I'll leave the bottle, but I'll empty it out the window, so it's empty.
Okay, so you take the bottle, you pour it out over there, and it's powerful stuff. Really kind of a strong smelling cologne. That as you kind of pour it out down onto the roof tiles, and it kind of runs down, glistening in the pale moonlight there. It kind of really gets to the back of your throat. But you know,
it just catches my throat. Okay.
It's quite overpowering. That's what the idea is. That it's quite a
like old lady perfume.
Yeah, if you like. So that's kind of what you discover from there. Anything else that you want to be looking for? This room is devoid of anything else other than you find there's a few clothes. This is obviously you haven't met Zacharias, but you've seen the other two brothers, and this is not their room. The clothing that's kind of hanging in here is definitely of a higher quality and a different build to the brothers.
Yeah, I might open the door. Like, I'm just wondering, if I open the door, does it have like any kind of indication of whose room it is on the outside? Just because try and find Paul's room if you have. I assume you'd have a room here. So.
There's no indication on the doors, but as you kind of open the door, and there are numerous other doors on this particular landing. If you wanted to go and investigate any of the other rooms.
Yeah, what?
Okay. And you kind of sneak across the landing. Down in the dining room. What's going on? So
I'm pushing the fish around my plate.
You are, yeah. It's like a pate. So there's kind of little thin slices of toast, kind of very crisp, that everybody else is kind of smearing this fish paste onto.
I'm eating lots of the bread.
Okay. Is anybody saying anything during this period, or are you just eating?
I'm just going to try and make general conversation. So, how long have you been here? What made you buy the island? Thing.
Yeah, and so Zacharias is the one that speaks when you kind of ask this question. He says, we've been here for some years now. When the herring returned, we were able to make quite the profit with our business. It allowed us to buy the island. It allowed Mother to buy the island, and she set the inn up here. I saw an opportunity, and I built the warehouse shortly thereafter. But that has been making us good money. While the herring are here, we all do very well. It's good for us. It's good for the archipelago. It's good for everyone.
Seems like the herring have been doing well for many years now.
There have been difficult times. There have been difficult times, and the archipelago and those in Fialbaco, they have suffered greatly when the herring do not appear. Fortunately, we have not known such times for a while now.
To what do you credit this great fortune?
He kind of looks down at his plate and then back up. God? He smiles, and he's incredibly insincere when he says that. Actually, Vlad, you were talking about God, weren't you, earlier?
Yes.
faith and religion.
Yeah, you were talking about Carl Eric, though, weren't you, at one point?
Yeah, I think it was just Oscar that was mentioned.
Yeah, you
Oh,
mentioned Oscar, yeah.
Yes, this troublesome man. He seems to make a lot of noise at the pub.
Well, he wouldn't be the first, would he?
Who would be the first then?
We've had priests come and go. They begrudge us our lifestyle. I cannot blame them. These men, they drink hard. It's not really the Christian way, I suppose.
Is drinking hard mutually exclusive from believing in God?
We've had maybe it's not just drinking hard. It's how sometimes the sailors they get let out of hand. Maybe with the women sometimes. Maybe with each other sometimes.
I can see how aspects of that could cause problems for men in dresses. I am no lover of priests myself.
No. Religion is... It is something I think that a man can take or leave. Don't you think?
I think a man or woman should have the choice to be as involved in religion of any variety as they wish without judgment.
And it should not be forced upon one, should it?
Nothing should be forced upon anyone. Except good health, and on that front, Vlad, will you please be careful of the amount of bread you are eating? You know what it does to your stomach, and I did not bring enough medicine to treat you if you end up in that state again.
Yes, doctor, it does make me feel a little bloated and gassy. It is... I feel the fermentations in my bowels. It is quite unpleasant. I should perhaps excuse myself for a moment.
Perhaps more of this excellent wine would help.
Has it been breathing yet for 18 minutes?
Oh, I should think so.
Excellent.
But if you wish to relieve yourself.
And Vlad will say, the company is fantastic. I shall return shortly. I just want to make sure that my company is also still fantastic, if you understand.
Of course.
So I will step up. I'm assuming the outhouse is somewhere around.
Yeah. Out back. You'd be directed to it, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. As you kind of step out into the hallway, though, Vlad, you see the housekeeper. She's kind of standing at the bottom of the stairs at the moment, and she seems to be looking up questioningly as you kind of approach. And she sees you. Oh!
Yes, sorry, what was your name again? I apologize. It's how rude of me. What is your name?
My name is Laura. So.
Laura, thank you so much. The good doctor has been monitoring my intake of food and has been giving me the proper recommendations of when I should go out and get a proper exercise so that I do not, so that my bowels don't become too bothersome to the company in the room.
She gets very embarrassed by this.
It is perfectly okay. Everything is very natural. I am in the best of care. You needn't worry about my digestive health. It is deep top.
A doctor, you say?
Yes, he's doctoring.
And she kind of seems distracted and kind of looks back up the stairs.
So, is somebody ill? Did you require a doctor?
Ill?
Yes. When I said doctor, you seem to make mention of it. I don't expect that on an island such as this there is a resident doctor.
Oh, we've no need for doctors.
Really?
No.
Oh, how's that?
If someone gets sick, they can go to the mainland. It's...
Yes, of course, but I mean, there have been no accidents or no. Is it rare that somebody gets sick or?
Well, some of the men get sick quite frequently.
Yes, I see what they drink. Obviously, it is substandard.
Is there something I can help you with, sir? She's looking back upstairs.
If you don't mind escorting me out a minute, it is not good for me to be walking alone, and then outside you can point me in the direction of the facilities, as one would say.
Okay.
And I will, because that sounds implausible as it is, use my... Well, no, it's forgetting. I will use my talent, as I'm discussing with her, the journalist talent, to try to inspire her to be charmed by me, and to give me some information. I'll if she does come outside. Oh yes, I heard the story. Maybe you can, tell me if it's true or not. I understand that there was a bothersome priest on the island some time ago with two first names. I don't remember what. Eric, Carl, Eric. People with two first names are not to be trusted in my mind. That's just the way they are. But you have you heard of such a thing? And then I'm going to try to charm her.
Okay. Yeah.
So it is an inspiration instead of manipulation.
You can inspire her all you like, sir.
The way you said that's not a thing.
This reminds me of a book that I wrote about being fortunate around females. It was called "Luck Be a Lady with Me Tonight." Then I shall see if it works. You know what? I don't think I did my best. I think it's going to have to. I'm going to have to suffer some terrible tragedy in order to try to get this to work.
Oh. You have succeeded, but there has been a cost. You have a condition.
Oh no.
I do.
So what would that condition be? It's going to be a mental condition, right?
Yeah, I think if it goes down in the row, the first thing is that I am angry now. You don't like.
Well, I don't know if it matters too much in that regard. You could, but maybe you do get angry then. Maybe you get a bit. Are you kind of angry with yourself? Maybe because she seems she's distracted. She's just kind of looking up at the stairs. There's something that's bothering her that she. And as you kind of, as you're kind of talking to her, she kind of says, "You must excuse me, sir." And she goes to take a step up, and you kind of realise that maybe you have been unsuccessful, and so you try again. But you're angry with yourself about this, I guess.
I do not understand it. I am Vlad. Vlad, that's a Notre Dame. I am a famous, prolific writer. Of course, she should be charmed by me. What?
Yeah.
It's not a good place. I want to leave.
But somehow you managed to win her over with what you have been saying, and she kind of puts the foot on the stairs, and you kind of maybe she thinks you're making a pass at her or something.
Uh-oh.
And And she suddenly kind of looks down and kind of takes pity on you a little bit. And
like we all do.
yeah, kind of with the last glance upstairs, she kind of steps back down and she says, "You poor dear, you must be suffering greatly. Let me help you." And she leads you out towards the outhouse at the back of there. Now, I got a feeling that we might have to leave it here for now.